Camu is one of my favorite botanicals. It's well known for its high vitamin C content, the highest natural occurring source of vitamin C in the plant kingdom. But it's so much more. It's really rich in polyphenols. It's really rich. That's quercetin, resveratrol, leucine, valine, serine are naturally occurring in Camu. And each one of those ingredients do have studies behind them that show their ability to address some of these challenges to a healthy brain, not only to address it, but also to reverse it. And this is big because this hasn't really been well understood before, because it looked like once this thing starts, there's no turning back. But what we know now is you can reverse a lot of these issues, and that's really important.
The next one is cat's claw. Let's touch on that.
Cat's claw, you get the epicatechins. Cat's claw also has it's called a brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is a complicated name. What that really means is that's got the ability to help create a neurogenesis, which is building new cells. We always have new cells being created in our body. We have cells that are dying. It's just a natural cycle of the cells. So we have the ability to create more new cells. That's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Bacopa.
Bacopa is a plant that's got wonderful studies behind it on cognition and its ability to break down amyloid plaquing. In one study in mice that already had the severe amyloid plaquing, that the brain will, when it sees an insult to the brain, it creates this inflammatory response, and then it will secrete and build this amyloid plaquing around that to protect itself from that. The issue is that itself becomes a problem with the proper neurological function of the brain. So you have the ability to actually break that down with the Bacopa. And the one study with the mice, it showed that it actually dissolved at 60% of that.
Such a high number.
It's a big number.
Such a big number. Absolutely. Let's talk about cinnamon and then cacao.
Both cinnamon and cacao are, I think, really underappreciated for their therapeutic value. Cinnamon, there's two things in that. It also has these epicatechins, but you'll also find a cinnamaldehyde, and that's been shown to actually untangle some of the tau tangles, which is one of the issues that challenge brain function, where the neurons and the neural fibers get wound up and aren't efficient anymore at going to recall and memory and that sort of thing. Cinnamon has been shown to actually break that down. Cacao, again, is a very potent anti-inflammatory, but it also has the ability to increase circulation, microcirculation in the brain. You had mentioned diet and exercise. Exercise is really big, because you've got to get the circulation of that fresh blood going through the brain. And the cacao not only increases the circulation, but it has the ability to actually slow down and protect existing brain cells. So it slows down that apoptotic function where the brain cells would naturally die. It slows that down and protects the healthy brain cells.
Really keeping your brain healthy with that cell regeneration and keeping your current cells healthy. Yeah. So important. Pod de arco, the bark inside of a tree, and talk a little bit about that and its surroundings too, because I think that's really important.
Yeah, pod de arco, for people who are really into herbs and understand botanicals, they probably question, why is pod de arco in a brain formula? And there's a very simple answer to that, and it's based on some very new data that just came out last month that shows the involvement of candida, the Candida albicans yeast, in deteriorating brain function. And the candida yeast is very prevalent in the population now because of overuse of antibiotics, where you're taking away the bacteria that would keep the yeast in check. And so now the yeast really colonizes and flourishes, and that goes systemic. And people talk about a foggy brain syndrome with candida. And it's really actually more than that. Yes, it's a foggy brain syndrome, but it looks like it could be a causative factor here, because now we know with the latest research that candida can actually cross the blood-brain barrier, become an insult to the brain, and begin to cause that amyloid plaquing to build. So keeping the candida in check Again, it goes back to the microbiome. You want to have a balanced bacteria, fungus, yeast, mold population in your bacteria. That's all there, healthy, residing in a natural population. And when you take some of the bacteria out with antibiotics, these other things become rampant. Podarco is a wonderful entity to help keep that candida in check. And that's a very important factor here.
Dragon's blood.
Dragon's blood. Yep. The croton of the cherry tree, hit it with the machete. It bleeds just like blood. And I don't know why it's dragon's blood as opposed to some other animal, but this red sap that comes out, when you dry that, that's 90% pure proanthocyanidins. And the anthocyanins are potent antioxidants that have research behind them showing their potent effect in helping to control and maintain a healthy brain function.
And Guayusa.
Guayusa in today's world is being used as a natural caffeine substitute for maybe some of your green teas or coffee or something like that. It does have some naturally occurring caffeine in it, and the caffeine, there's good studies around that as being actually very helpful for dementia and Alzheimer's, slowing the progression of dementia and Alzheimer's.